Alright, so, Voltomic. Hello everybody, I'm DKG's Avos. We're planning out the team. And it looks like we got a Talonflame, Klefki, and a Togekiss. Togekiss are pretty fun. I've got a Togekiss, but let's get to it. I love my Togekiss. My Togekiss is awesome. There are a couple different movesets that you might be running into with a Togekiss, but being as this is OU, I'm assuming that it's going to be Parafusion Flinching Togekiss, which means that we kind of need to deal with it and deal with it quickly. It is going to be a special attacker if it comes out first, so we'll just deal with it as it comes. Klefki is kind of interesting. I ran a physical Klefki, but most people are running like a dual screen Klefki. Here's the nice thing about meowstic though. Meowstic is faster than Klefki. So if you're running meowstic against a Klefki team, I will outspeed it every time. I just got a higher base. So it looks like we're running against a dual screen Klefki. I imagine that probably means that he's got the Light Clay too. Just seems like the thing to do. So he's probably going to try and throw up these dual screen, which, I mean, if we can stall it out just a little bit, get him to do some confused damage in there, I'm going to be alright. But he gets both screens up. Play with a little bit of luck. You might get luck. But like I said, I will not set up light screen with this meowstic until I need it. It's just not going to happen. But with this Klefki, it's already set up dual screens. I've got Klefki pretty well set up on. I'm not too worried about the rest of it. So at the moment, we could probably just switch this out, see what's going to happen. The most annoying thing that I can see coming out of Klefki is probably T-Wave. T-Wave paralysis would be really annoying. I'd really rather not have that. So, I mean, there you go. Paralysis being a really annoying brat. And I made just a pretty standard switch into Diggersby. Diggersby does quite a bit of damage. And Foul Play is going to hurt a little bit, but, I mean, I've got so much heft in Diggersby that Foul Play really isn't going to hurt that much. Foul Play is really good with Swagger. So, when you boost your opponent's, I mean, when you boost anything on your opponent attack-wise and then use Foul Play, it's just going to be a great combo. I've already revealed Earthquake, so I'm expecting that there's going to be a flyer coming in. I didn't over-predict here. I wanted to let that Klefki stall out as long as possible. The nice thing about going against a Togekiss with Diggersby is that because he's a ground type, so he's going to resist any T-Waves, so I'm not crazy worried about that. But unfortunately, because of the moves that Togekiss has, Air Slash is still going to be pretty good. So I went for the Rock Slide the first turn, just to try and see what's going to happen. And right now I'm kind of doing a little bit of damage calc in my head, trying to see what kind of damage I'm going to be able to do against this Togekiss, even knowing that Reflect is up. So I just want to check it out, see what's going on, and we're going to take a chance here. We're going to take a little bit of a risk. We're going to switch in to Meowstic, assume that we can take an Air Slash, and then try and set up on it. So now we've got a special attacker in here, and there we go. Meowstic's coming in. We're going to get a priority T-Wave. It didn't take that much damage. I don't need. It's not an absolute necessity to have light screen up. But Klefki is going to come in here. Klefki's already paralyzed. We're going to go Swagger, get this Klefki, just to get the Parafusion going. I really don't want to deal with it. I don't want to deal with this Klefki trying to set up dual screens again. Now that we've cleared him out, there's no reason to let him set him back up. So we're going to try and get Parafusion going, have him do some damage to himself, and then get it out of here. I'm hoping that Dark Pulse will be able to clear it out finally. He's going to get Reflect up, which hurts our team more than Light Screen does, but also knowing that he's putting up Reflect before Light Screen, we're going to be able to do a little bit more with Dark Pulse. So I'm just going to go for it one more time. Parahacks are pretty nice, and again, that's kind of why I play with them. Parahacks, you've got such a low chance of actually going for an attack. I mean, it's really nice to have Parafusion. And once they're paralyzed, as long as they're not using a priority move, you're probably going to outspeed them. And Meowstic's no chump. I mean, it's like 101 base speed, which I don't have anything in. Alright, now Talonflame. Talonflame is exactly what I want to set up on. Talonflame, I mean, he's a physical attacker, and he's going to get some priority Gale Wing stuff. That's awesome, super cool, but if I paralyze your entire team, then it doesn't really matter. And I know this Meowstic's going to be able to take a shot or two from Talonflame. That's not going to be a huge problem. And then I'm going to go for Swagger. Even if he's going for Brave Bird now that he's paralyzed, I'm going to beat him in that speed race. Because when it's a battle of priority versus priority, as long as they're the same stage of priority, then, you know, it's going to be what it is. So now that Talonflame is already confused and paralyzed, I really don't want to take the risk and raise his attack that much further. I know that I could have done more damage here with that confuse, but I've played risky enough for the day. I've played risky enough for the day. We're just going to leave it at that. So now we've got Talonflame confused and paralyzed. It's staying in. Talonflame's really not that bulky, and this is one of those things where running a Talonflame is a bit of a risk. Talonflame's really not that bulky, so it's not a big issue. It hits sorta hard because of the amount of damage that the moves that it uses are, but its attack stat's not that big. That's why Pokemon felt that it was necessary to give it Brave Bird, and, well, I mean, you see how it works out. So again, we still have Meowstic doing pretty well. It's still at a decent chunk of health. We know that it's defensive bulky, and we know that Azumarill isn't a physical attacker. So I know that with the bold nature on Meowstic, it's going to be alright. It's Life Orb, so that's going to be an interesting way to play. But with that, I've got a couple different choices that I can go for. I've got Scissor that I know he's not the bulkiest, but he's got a decent amount of heft to him just naturally. But I'm going to leave Meowstic. I'm going to leave Meowstic around. I don't want to lose it right now, because I still want to be able to set up on a couple other Pokemon. We get lucky on the switch. We would have done neutral damage to the Azumarill, and now we've got Lucario coming in. And Lucario, I mean, Lucario's pretty good. You have to give him that. But I'm going to take a risk here. I'm going to go for Sword Stance. I'm going to let this Lucario do something, scout it out a little bit, hope that Scissor's going to be bulky enough just with his natural bulk to take a shot. And knowing that he's gone Mega Lucario, most people are actually going with Mega Lucario. They're deciding to go more of a physical, so I'm a little bit surprised to see Nasty Plot, just because that's a special attacking move, and we'll just see how it ends up. Knowing that his Lucario's faster, I want to be able to get some sort of damage in, so I'm going for Bullet Punch. He's going to go for Vacuum Wave, which we get we get down to 5 HP. Like I said, it does hurt a little bit, but here's where it comes in with the scouting. I figured that Scissor was going to be able to take a shot. Vacuum Wave comes in. He's probably going to go for the same thing, knowing that I've got Bullet Punch that took him down to almost half health. But I switch into Gengar. He gets a free Nasty Plot. A little bit of over prediction. Good prediction by him. But he's not going to be able to go for the Vacuum Wave again. So I'm going for, well, Focus Blast. We don't get a Focus Miss, which works pretty well. It's going to be super effective, and we take a little bit of Life Orb damage. Nasty Plot was a good prediction there, but Mega Lucario is not going to outspeed the Gengar in this case. And so now we've got Togekiss coming in, and again, I'd really love to set up on it, but at this point, there's not a whole lot that we're going to be able to do to set up. Because it's now Fairy Flying, Shadow Ball is going to be able to do neutral damage instead of nothing. So that is one thing. You're going to be able to take stab Shadow Balls from Gengar with Togekiss, but Air Slash isn't going to go first because Togekiss is not faster than a Gengar. So I'm going to go ahead and leave Gengar in just to see what Gengar can really do. See if I have to waste Meowstic on it, or if I can leave Gengar in and just do a little bit of damage. We get T-Waved, which is annoying. but we're going to be able to deal with it. So what I'm going to go ahead and do here is I'm going to switch Gengar out. He is paralyzed. He's lost a lot of his utility. Unless we set up the rest of his team, now he's relegated to absolutely late game sweeper. We're going to see a Roost coming out of Togekiss, which is a really good prediction on the switch. But now I'm just going to go straight away, try and do some damage with Marilyn, see what's going on. Togekiss isn't really that bulky, and because I've got the priority moves, I know that Aqua Jet's going to be able to break through Paralysis a little bit. We're going to get some Parahacks going. We're going to take some damage. But Marilyn, there we go. First Parahacks, not a big deal, but we're still going to be able to outspeed this Togekiss, even paralyzed, because of what we've got going with Aqua Jet. Now, the way that I'm looking at it right now is we've got a team of 6, and he's got a team of 3. So we can throw away a Pokemon or 2 here and there. And we're going to keep going for the Aqua Jet. Going to switch out straight into his Azumarill, and our Aqua Jet's not going to do anything to that Azumarill. Not a big deal. This should be basically a speed tie, because with maxed out IVs in both of them paralyzed, I imagine that everybody basically goes the same way. For Azumarill, they're going to max out the HP, and they're going to max out the attack. Basically how that goes. Play Rough does a lot of damage. I don't know if you guys quite realize how much damage Play Rough is going to do, but now he's forced to go for Aqua Jet just to do some sort of damage. We get a little bit lucky there with the fact that we broke through Paralysis and our opponent didn't, but no matter what, if you're going Azumarill against Azumarill, use Play Rough against your opponent's Azumarill. I mean, yes, you get the stab priority, but Aqua Jet's not going to do as much damage, because your opponent resists. Aqua Jet's really not a powerful attack. Play Rough is just stupid powerful. And now we're basically just going to burn out Marilyn. We're going to be able to stall out this Togekiss, force some Roosts, force a bunch of Air Slash, and what we want to do is we want as much of this to play through, reduce that PP as much as possible. I want to burn out as many Roosts on this Togekiss as possible. And that's pretty much what I'm going for. Roost is a pretty good move. And the lower we can get this Togekiss's HP down, the better off we're going to do. It's going to make the battle take a little bit longer, but our only other option there is going for Belly Drum and trying to get our Aqua Jet to do more. I'm not a big proponent for going for Belly Drum. You can see how low the HP is. I mean, after running into the last Azumarill, going for Belly Drum at this point would just be suicide. So I'm just going to keep going for Aqua Jet. We're going to stall out this Togekiss as long as possible, force it, because we know that we're going to have Paralysis every once in a while. We're going to take a few crits here and there just because Serene Grace will increase the crits as well as it increases all the secondary effects. So if you're only seeing like 5% crits, you're going to get like 10% with Togekiss. And like I said, we are burning out as many of these Roosts as possible. This Togekiss isn't going to stand up against Scizor. And like I said, there's no reason to try and keep Marilyn alive just because we've got 6 Pokemon against, well, now 2. I don't really like doing a 6-0 sweep on anybody just because I feel like it's a little bit rude sometimes. There are some points where, yeah, you're going to run into it where you kind of have to, but it just happens. Ran out Azumarill as much as possible. We've got this Togekiss down to half health, and he's going to go for the Roost most likely, but without any entry hazards, we're going to be able to switch in Scizor pretty effectively, and now we're going to give a Bullet Punch straight to Togekiss or see the switch, which is alright. But now if he's got the multi-scale, we're going to burn it up, which I'm pretty happy with. So now I don't want to lose Scissor because I want to be able to take out that Togekiss pretty quickly. I'm not too worried about it. We're going to send in Diggersby. Diggersby is basically death fodder at this point. DD is going to help out this Dragonite quite a bit, but there's a big but there. Diggersby isn't going to be faster, especially with the DD. Dragon Claw is going to do a decent amount of damage, but here's what's going to happen. We've got a Dragonite, we've got a Togekiss. We're going to be able to switch in Meowstic. Meowstic's going to set up some paralysis on Dragonite, and we're going to be okay. T-Wave on Dragonite. Even if he switches in, then we're going to run into T-Wave on Togekiss. And I'm okay with that. So now we paralyzed Togekiss, basically giving it a little bit of a taste of its own medicine. And now we're going to be able to go out into Gengar. Gengar might be able to take a hit from Togekiss, but now they're on an equal playing field. Gengar is going to be able to outspeed, and we're going to be alright. Roost is going to help out a little bit, but even if he switches in Dragonite, Gengar is going to be able to hit Dragonite pretty hard, no matter what, especially since we burned out any potential for a multi-scale, and we've got Dazzling Gleam. Nobody wants to take a Dazzling Gleam to a Dragonite right away, but we're going to predict a little bit of switch, just because Dragonite is still pretty bulky. I really want to burn out this Gengar a little bit, because I don't think that it's really going to be that effective later on. We're going to go for a Shadow Ball, hope that we don't get Parahacks, but we do. Shadow Ball was going to do some neutral damage, and now it's just going to be a little ball and cup game. Togekiss is really annoying, but we are still in the driver's seat of this game. Yes, we've got, right now, we've got a paralyzed Togekiss. We still have our Meowstic alive, so we're still in the driver's seat. We've got Sludge Bomb on Venusaur. We're not worried about this one too much. Sludge Bomb on Togekiss is going to do a lot of damage, especially with this Togekiss being, well, paralyzed. It's just not that great. T-Wave on Venusaur is going to be annoying, but we're going to be alright with it. Not a big deal. Now we've made it more of a reasonable 3-2. He set up our team pretty well, and I've got to give him a lot of credit for that. But unless his Dragonite has Earthquake, it's not going to be able to do as much damage as he would really want. And we should be able to stall out the team pretty well. So he's got the DD. Dragon Dance increases the speed, which is alright. I'm going to go for the Toxic, which seems like a little bit of a silly move because Avos, you've got Parahacks going for you. You've been doing really well with that, but I also know that this Mega Venusaur usually takes a hit pretty well, so I'm going to be able to stall it out. I've also got Synthesis on this thing, so even if he's going to do a decent amount of damage with Earthquake, he's going to have to go with more DDs than that to do a whole heck of a lot of damage. Usually stab Earthquakes are the things that we're worried about with this Venusaur, but with the bold nature, it's crazy strong. Critical Hacks, that's going to change it a little bit though. But we still stalled him out a little bit. Poison damage is just going to do a little bit too much damage. And then we're going to bring in our Scissor. We're going to have a little bit of priority here. Get that Bullet Punch in. Even if it doesn't do that much damage, it's going to be poison damage and then he's gone. So like I said, you're in the driver's seat at that point in the game. You want to make sure that you're always kind of in control. And now we haven't done any sort of 4-0 sweep. He set up our team really well. Togekiss is awesome for setting up. That's why I was giving him so much credit for having Togekiss in the game. But there you go. Brought it down to a much more respectable 1-0. Awesome game, Voltomic. Voltomic. Whatever. But, awesome. Awesome game. Volt really amazing.